Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. And guys, we're bringing back an old topic today. We're talking about position players pitching because the landscape of this entire genre of stats has completely changed over time. In the 1990s, there were 57 total position players that threw a pitch in that entire decade of play. That number went up a little bit at the beginning of the 2010s. 2010 through 2015, there were 93 position players total who threw a pitch. Then it hit all-time highs in 2021. That number skyrocketed to 89 position players pitching in 2021, and then in 2022, things officially got out of hand with 132 different position players throwing a pitch last season. Because of this, under the new CBA, baseball implemented some new rules. In order to let a position player pitch, you either have to be losing by 8 or up by 10 in the 9th inning. Or it has to be any extra inning scenario. Those are the three scenarios where position players are allowed to throw a pitch now. So it's been happening a lot less frequently this season, which is probably a good thing. But since it's going to be probably a thing of the past sometime soon, let's look at the history of who was throwing the most pitches on the mound who wasn't really a pitcher. The most egregious example from last year was Hanser Alberto, who made 10 appearances for the Los Angeles Dodgers, 8 of those coming in wins. He's made 14 appearances in his career with a 7.07 ERA, which, when you consider position players pitching, is actually not that bad. One of the few guys that's actually pitched a lot this season is Cody Clemens, the son of Cy Young winner Roger Clemens. He pitched 7 times for the Tigers last year and already 3 times for the Phillies this year. Also, he gets used like a high-leverage reliever. There's been 2 occasions in his career where he pitched on back-to-back days with no rest, in September of last year in 2022 and in May of this year. Clemens' line is even better than Alberto's. He's thrown 8 2/3 innings in his career, and he has a 4.15 ERA. That's like a solid reliever in today's game. There's also Charlie Culberson, who's back with the Braves and has made a pitching appearance every year since 2018. That's also the last time he allowed a run. He's thrown 6 1/3 innings since 2018, and he has not allowed an earned run. In his career, almost inexplicably, he has 7 1/3 innings pitched and a 1.23 ERA. He should be closing games. He has the distinction of throwing the fastest pitch by any position player pitching when he threw a 93.7 mile per hour fastball in 2022. All right, well, if we're talking about position players with great career pitching lines, let's talk about the best position player pitching performances ever. There's Russell Martin in 2019 for the Dodgers. He had never thrown a pitch at the major league level before this year, but made 4 scoreless appearances that season in LA, including on August 27th of that year where he threw a scoreless inning and preserved a shutout. He's one of just 2 position players in the expansion era with 4 scoreless appearances in one season. There's also a pair of Orioles with great position player pitching performances as well. Try saying position player pitching performances 5 times fast, I dare you. Back on July 25th of 2019, Stevie Wilkerson entered the game as a center fielder and ended up the closer for the Orioles, securing a save with a scoreless inning at the end of the game. He was the first position player to earn a save since the stat became official in 1969. Chris Davis, though, one-upped him 7 years earlier with a 2 scoreless inning performance that resulted in a win. He went 0 for 8 in this marathon game, but he struck out Jared Saltalamacchia and Adrian Gonzalez to preserve the win for the Orioles. But the longest of any of these appearances by far belongs to Jose Aquendo, who on May 14th, 1988 threw 4 innings for the Cardinals. He earned the nickname the Secret Weapon as he came in the 16th inning of a marathon game and tossed 4 innings. He allowed 2 runs and got the loss, but this was still a legendary performance. We could go on and on and on about all the guys that have been throwing pitches recently as position players, but I'm hoping this is a stat that'll become a thing of the past because we want to see competitive play, not teams giving up or giving in late in games. And if you're watching the game of baseball, a great way to not give up on watching is to have a bet going, and you should be doing that at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the sponsor of today's episode. Right now, if you use code STATS, S-T-A-T-S, you can bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager and win $150 in bonus bets instantly. And you can spread that over some same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout at the end of the day. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and any resources you might need for a gambling problem or addiction are listed down below. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, and if you have a favorite position player, I hope you never have to see them pitch, because most of the time, it doesn't go that well.